exact thing except it's completely different. Think about that for just a minute. Same exact thing, just completely different. Brian is just all full of little clips back there. Smile is Friday, 35 minutes more class. And here is the, write this down on the note portion and then we'll talk about this. Step number 1, when you solve inequalities by substitution. Yesterday we did by graphing. You don't really want to do graphing. Graphing really is the most archaic, hardest way to do it. This is not the easiest way either, but it's one way we need to understand it. The first thing you need to do, children, this again is with simultaneous equations. You have to have two equations. You're looking for the place where they cross on the graph. Step number 1 is this. One of the equations, comma, must, I repeat must with a capital M and a small t at the end, be solved for a variable, or one of the variables, if you will. And I will tell you exactly what I mean as soon as you write that down. Everybody got that? You feel okay? You feel tired? That's never a good thing. Okay, in other words this, children, let's take a look here and see if you can kind of get what I mean here. This is good because this one is solved for y. You just need one of the two. And this is good because this one is solved for y. So we're good with that one. This one over here is good because it's solved for y, and this one's solved for y on the top. You need at least one of them to look that way. Let me see if any of these on the bottom. This one is not good yet because neither one of them has a variable by itself. But you can fix it by doing what? Which one of these would be the easiest to solve for either x or y? It doesn't matter which. Kelvin? And what would you have to do to the second one to solve it for one of those? I agree.
Yes.
How do I get the y by itself? I just need to subtract the 5x. So this one, if I'm doing, oh mercy, that's gonna be, let's do that.
Yeah.
That's so blurry. It should have came. I don't know why this is. Okay. This one, you look for the variable that's by itself, and the y is there. You just need to get rid of this minus 5x. So you just have to do this, minus 5x and minus 5x. So now this one is solved for y. This one over here, what would be the logical thing to solve for there? Because neither one of them is solved for a variable. Eli says, and what would I move over? X. I would move the y over because the y is negative, and to move it over you just add y. So for the second one you get x equals minus 2 plus y. Now I've solved it for that one letter. Okay? Everybody's good with that? What's that? No. Sorry, Jake. That was step 1. Step 2, Jake, for you. Okay. You take what that variable from step number 1 equals, and here's the big word, substitute it in the other equation and solve. exclamation point. I will let you write that down and then I will talk to you. This is not for those of you who are lazy, so some of you are going to make mistakes because you are lazy, but I will tell you exactly what this means here. Everybody's good? Here's the deal. This second equation is solved for y, so I know y equals 4. That means in the other equation, wherever there is a y, I'm going to substitute what it equals, which is a 4. So that means this. I'm going to rewrite this equation. Negative x plus 4 times what y is from this other one, because y is 4, and that equals 10. And what I've done, children, is the reason why we can't solve these equations is because there's two variables. What I've done by substituting out one of the variables, I only have one variable now and I can solve it for x. So I end up with this, negative x plus 16 equals 10. Subtract 16, subtract 16. So negative x equals negative 6, which means positive x equals positive 6. So I now know what my x is. The unfortunate thing is I don't know what my y is, which brings us to our third step. Actually it's substitute again. Substitute your answer into one of the original equations and find the other variable. Stop throwing me up there. That means this. I know that x is 6, correct? So I put 6 in for x now and see what y equals. So a negative 6, because I know that, plus 4y equals 10. Add 6 to 10. I know now 4y equals 16. Y equals 4. 6 and 4 are my two things that make up one point there. This is just a good thing to get used to because it's used in many, many applications of Mathematicas. I will do another one for those of you that are looking at me like this is absolutely the most hardest thing in the absolute world you've ever done. It is not. Christine, which part are you looking confused at? Let me do another one from beginning and then you can see what, I'm going to do number 2, but I'm going to do it on a new screen. Again, this, children, is about using enough paper so that you don't get lost in the process that you're doing. Somebody out there, read me what the problem for number 2 is. Eli?
Y equals 4x plus 6.
Y equals 4x plus 6, and then
Negative x minus 6y equals 14.
equals 14. Okay, step by step. First of all, you look at the equation that's already solved for a letter, which is what? The top one is solved for y. So, I am taking what y equals, and I am going to put it in for y right there, because that's where y is in the other equation. So it looks like this. This doesn't change yet. Negative x. Was it minus?
Yeah.
Did I have 2 minuses there?
You should have two. You shouldn't have to.
I don't know that yet. Negative x minus 6 times what y is, which I get from up here, equals 14. I'll put that down so I can see it. Y is 4x plus 6. Stop me if you don't get where that came from. Y equals this, so I substituted in for the letter y there. And what I've done is I've gotten rid of the y variable, and now I'm just left with x's, and I'm just going to solve it and see what x is. So negative x, distributive property, minus 24x. Negative 6 times positive 6 is minus 36 equals 14. Put my x's together, I get negative 25x. Add my 36 to the other side, I get 50 divide by my negative 25, divide by my negative 25, x, ladies and gentlemen, equals negative 2. 50 divided by negative 25. That was the first 2 steps. The last step is this. You know that there's supposed to be 2 points and you only have found 1. So you take what x is, and it doesn't matter which of the 2 equations you put it into, okay? You put it into here. That would be the easiest one. 4 times negative 2 is? And negative 8 plus 6 is? Y equals also negative 2. Which, by the way, on that last one, I'm not sure why somebody should have stopped me here because I didn't need to solve for this y because it was already solved for up there. But I got kind of mixed up in the problem, and that's what it is there. Everybody's happy now. Let's try one more time. Yeah. The third problem. Somebody read it off for me. Smith, what does it say?
7x minus
7x
6y
6y
equals negative 20.
equals negative 20.
X minus y equals negative 2.
Negative 2.
Yes.
Okay, so this was one where you have to do step number 1 because neither one of these is solved for any variable, so you have to move it around so it is. This one is the logical one. You could do this one, but I can tell you what, it'd take a lot more math operations than you want to do. And I just need to move my y over there. Why don't I move x over there? Because then I'm dealing with negatives on the y's and you don't want to do that. So just add y. So x equals negative 2 plus y, or y minus 2, it doesn't matter, however you want to say it. Once you have that, you are going to substitute, let's go with the pretty green. You are going to substitute this in for x, right there. Why not for y? Because I didn't solve for y. So 7 times what x is, which is this, minus 6y equals negative 20. Distributive property, you get negative 14 plus 7y, correct? 7 times both of those. Minus 6y equals negative 20. Combine the y's, you're left with just a y. Oh, nicely, that works out. Add 14, y equals negative 6. Y equals negative 6. Because 20 minus 14 is negative 6. Okay? And then you only found one of the points, so now you have to take that, and you can use either of these 3 ones, whichever one works best for you. I wouldn't pick this because there's just a lot of stuff to do there. I might pick this one, but I like this one because it already says x equals negative 2 plus whatever y is. And if y is negative 6, what's a negative 2 minus 6? X equals negative 8. Again, knowing, children, that if you were to graph these 2 lines, they would cross at the point negative 8, negative 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Wherever these lines would go, they would cross at that point somewhere. What is that? I think you're ready. What is How do I get that thing out of there? Where did it all go? I think you're ready to try that last one on your own. See what you can do. What is it? I will get you just started on this here. 15x plus 3y equals 5. 5x plus y equals 7. Which one are you going to solve for and why? 5. You want to solve this one. This is the only letter that's by itself, so you just need to get rid of that 5x So y equals 7 minus 5x. Move that 5 over there. Now, I'll let you go from there. I'll give you a minute or two. You're going to substitute this in for what y is there. Let's see what, I suppose I could have just done this. Substitute that in and see what you get. This is where math is fun. All my stuff vowels, so you just don't look at it, but well, that's. Here is where when you do your homework, I would certainly use a big square. Not try to. Oh, kids. Mrs. Smiley's back with the bad news. Oh, she gave a so-so report. So. Constitution test.
Our constitutions.
Yeah. We get stuck somewhere yet or no?
Yes.
Yeah, that's how people. Can't make this any easier for you.
Do not like.
Yeah, how'd you get that? I have no clue.
So-
Wonderful question.
I am just going to put this in for the letter Y right there. And please, I would do this if I were you. I would write down the 15x plus 3, put the parenthesis equals 5 right away, because a lot of times what happens is as soon as somebody substitutes something in there, they forget about the rest of the equation that they were putting it into. This is 7 minus 5x. Solving it is a piece of cake, because you are 8th graders. 15x, 3 times 7 is 21. 3 times negative 5x is a negative 15x equals 5. Oh.
Yeah.
Wait, we're not done. This is a valuable lesson for all of you. 15x minus 15x is 0x. Subtract 21, you get a negative 16. Now, if you remember, children, when you do linear equations, you have 3 options. Either there's one solution, infinite solutions, or no solutions. Okay? If you end up with 0x equals some number, 0 times what number gives you negative 16? 0 times 1 is 0. Thank you very much. And here's the way to think about it. In order to get rid of the 0 in front of the x, you'd have to do this, divide by 0, and cardinal rule number 1 up there is,
Thou shalt not
you
divide.
can't divide by 0. If this happens, as soon as you get to this point, and 0x equals some number, this is a no solution graph.
Save us a lot from something.
Sorry I didn't catch that. Now, children, if this happens though, if 0x would equal 0, that can happen. If 0x equals 0, what is x? What else is x? What else is x? X can be anything. If you get 0x equals 0, then it is infinite solutions. It's the same line. If you were to graph these 2 lines, you would get parallel lines. If you graph one that has infinite solutions, you get the same line. So you just have to be sitting there and be watching for that. How many at least got to this point?
I got close.
I got
21.
All right, enough of that.